Police have arrested the suspected shooter from yesterday's Brooklyn, New York subway attack following a massive manhunt. The suspect is 62-year-old Frank R. James. Officials say the suspect put on a gas mask and set off a canister that filled a subway car with smoke before opening fire on passengers, injuring at least 23 people. 10 of them hit by gunfire at the height of New York City's rush hour yesterday. Let's bring in NBC News Justice correspondent Pete Williams. Pete, what can you tell us?
Well, according to our affiliate WNBC in New York, Lester, the police were alerted through a tip to their Crime Stopper system of a possible sighting of Frank James in the East Village of New York. A short time ago this afternoon, the police responded and an arrest was made at St. Mark's and First Avenue. In that part of Manhattan. The suspect was taken to the local police precinct, and we're told by several law enforcement officials that they believe that it is Frank Robert James, the man that they have been seeking for the shooting in the subway, that apparently he did have some identification with him when they made the arrest. And, of course, in addition to the physical description and the photos that the police department released last night. Now, Lester, last night when you were reporting on Nightly News, the police were calling him a person of interest. And then this morning, the New York City mayor said he was a suspect. And the key factor in changing that is a trace done by alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives of the weapon that was used in the subway shooting. ATF was able to determine that the gun that was left behind at the crime scene, the one that apparently jammed, was the weapon that fired the shots, and that Frank James bought that weapon 11 years ago at a pawn shop in Columbus, Ohio. That was one key piece of evidence that moved him from person of interest to suspect. The second, of course, is the fact that there was a U-Haul van. The keys were left behind at the shooting scene, in addition to a credit card that was used to rent the van. That van was located last night, as you reported on Nightly News, not far from the subway system, not far from the station that was involved in the shooting. It appears that Frank James spent the night, slept in it last night. Authorities say they found some a table, some chairs, some foam rubber padding in that van. And then early this morning, probably around 6 o'clock, he apparently got out of the van, entered the subway system, and was on the subway system for at least an hour, possibly 2 hours, before finally opening fire on the N-Line train as it headed into the 36th Street station. And it's even possible, Lester, authorities are investigating whether he actually used the subway system to get away, because there's video that shows him using a Metro card, a fast scanning card that you can use to get through the turnstiles into the subway system. The video shows him using that, and there's some indication that that Metro card was used again yesterday after the shooting. So it's possible that he used the subway system to escape from the very shooting that he carried out on the subway, although that still remains under investigation. It's been a very fast-moving investigation. Lots has been learned about him, about the fact that he has had really no fixed address for the last year or so. He lived for a time in Pennsylvania, then in Wisconsin. It was in Pennsylvania that he rented the U-Haul van and also had a storage unit, which he then closed down just before coming into New York. He's apparently born in the New York City area, born in the Bronx, but relatives have said he's never really had a long-term job. And another factor is he left behind or has posted several social media postings, several YouTube videos that are full of hate, concern about crime, criticism of the mayor, racist rants, and lots of rambling. And that's one thing that federal authorities and state authorities are looking at as they consider what charges to file here, Lester. There are, of course, the possibility of attempted murder, state charges that could be filed in New York. But we're told that the federal government is also considering filing charges of its own, possibly hate crime charges. There are federal statutes that involve that make it a crime to try to inflict damage or harm people on trains. And that could give federal jurisdiction, as well as the firearms, moving into a firearm in interstate transportation. So lots of options for charges that could be filed today, and that whole process may now move up now that he appears to be under arrest, Lester.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.